If you want to blow up on social media and finally get the attention you want, then you have to understand how to actually storytell, write scripts, and create hooks. And no, it's not what you're thinking. I'm not going to suggest to you spending hours making one script for one Instagram video. I'm going to show you a framework that will allow you to actually make engaging videos with actual hooks and good storytelling. And you'll be able to do this naturally in minutes after you finish watching this video. These concepts target actual human psychology. It's how we communicate with each other. You can stop worrying about the algorithm to go viral. You just need to master the basic human psychology behaviors so you can go viral on any platform with any subject. And if you don't know who I am already, or you're wondering why I should listen to you, my name is Ethan. I was a commercial photographer turned content creator, and I've been making content for 5 years now. I've gained hundreds of thousands of followers across different platforms, and I've made many videos personally in the millions of views. And when I started, I had no idea how to talk to the camera. I had no idea how to keep people's interest, and I had no idea about how to hook people or script videos. I was a shy photographer who decided to learn a few concepts, and now everybody thinks I'm a natural, but I'm not. Social media is literally just a video game, but you need to play within the rules and frameworks of these platforms. The good news is human psychology is never going to change, so you can actually get results and beat the game no matter the platform and no matter the niche. So by the end of this video, you'll have a storytelling framework that works for any video, any niche, and in any style, guaranteed to boost your organic growth so you can share your message, your product, your service, or whatever you like doing to the world. So let's dive in by mastering the fundamentals of storytelling and script writing. So why does storytelling beat the algorithm? Well, algorithms on all platforms push content that hold attention, and storytelling is how you're going to hold that attention. It doesn't matter what the platform is, if you can make people watch, share, talk about your video, it is going to have an impact and it's going to be pushed by the algorithm. And storytelling specifically resonates with human psychology. It's how we like to connect ideas and how we learn. Our brains are wired for information to be delivered with conflict, a resolution, and emotional engagement. No matter what you're talking about, you need to make people feel something. And when people feel something, they're more likely to share, they're more likely to comment, they're more likely to save it and come back to it later. This is why you see all different types of viral videos. They spark emotion. You can have calming ASMR type videos. You can have beautiful landscape type videos with amazing audio and just everything pieces together nice and natural. You can have sad quote type videos. And then on the flip side, you could even have controversial content like politics. When someone makes a political video, it really targets someone's identity and really brings out a lot of emotions in us. So then we start commenting and engaging and having an opinion on the video. These are all great for the algorithm because it sparks emotion through storytelling. You're painting a picture. So the algorithm doesn't make your video go viral. Your ability to capture attention, intrigue others, and create connections do. And you can do that through storytelling. But before we get into what makes a great story, we have to hook the viewer in. So what is the viral hook structure that allows people to actually stay longer than 2 to 3 seconds? Every great video starts with a hook that makes people interested in what the video is about. Here's the 3-step sequence that I use and teach all the time. It starts with a polarizing statement or question. This is the first part of your hook. And these are the viral hooks that you can steal all the time and you see other people talking about them. I also have a document of viral hooks if you're interested in the link in the description. But the viral hooks aren't going to mean anything if you're not using them correctly. These are the hooks like, most people fail because they're doing this one thing wrong. Top 5 reasons to never eat bananas again. How to lose 10 pounds before the summer. This is a hot take, but I just thought of this. These are all polarizing statements which basically have interesting cliffhangers and polarizing words. Words like insane, never, all I think about, never do this, always do this, the most important. Basically anything with a cliffhanger and high expectations, and at the same sentence, you want to be outlining what the video is about. You don't want to be tricking your viewers into watching something they're not interested in. If you're going to make a video about your makeup, then make it obvious in the hook so everybody interested in makeup can watch the video. And right after that polarizing question or statement, you have to go right into the importance and credibility. This is going to be the second sentence. It's a very specific structure. The credibility and importance of the video gives people a reason why to actually listen to your topic and finish the rest of the video. I picked a random example here, but let's say you are doing a video about makeup. Never put on your lipstick first when you're doing your makeup. I don't know anything about makeup, but let's say that was the initial polarizing hook. It might be quite interesting. Like, why would I never put on lipstick before my makeup? You then have to back it up with credibility and importance. After being a professional makeup artist for over 10 years, I've seen this mistake over and over. Now you're backing up that polarizing statement with your personal credibility, so why people should listen to you in the first place, and the importance of the conflict or statement that you just said. So now, even if people have no idea who you are, at least you have some credibility of why they should continue watching and why the information you're about to give them is going to be somewhat valid. And people do this in every single video. You can just watch. I even used it in this video here. And if you're still watching, I probably did do a pretty good job of cultivating and proving my credibility and also importance of the video. Plus, I also had a nice polarizing hook and a bit of a difference in perspective of hook writing and script writing and storytelling in general. Which then gets us to the last point of the viral hook structure. This is going to be your payoff. You want to just give people the value, give people what they want. When I do value-based videos, I like to make it super clear and obvious. Here's how to fix it, and here's exactly what you're going to do. Here's my exact framework. This is exactly what you should do. It's very obvious that people are getting value and they're not wasting their time when they're watching your video. Now, next, when we get into storytelling, there's going to be a few extra details that you can add to make sure the payoff is somewhat interesting, because you want to keep everybody on their toes and keep the cadence of the video nice and entertaining. A bonus tip when you're crafting that first polarizing sentence is you want to make sure you highlight a benefit or a pain point of your potential viewer. You want to be using those intention-grabbing words like never, always, stop, this drives me insane, whatever it is, right? And you can implement a visual hook. So when possible, you want to put text on the screen, about 2 to 3 words, ideally, or you can literally show them what you're about to talk about. Never drink water during your YouTube videos. Obviously, the information has to be correct when you're saying that, but that's a good example of a cliffhanger hook, because everybody's going to be wondering why I should never be drinking water during my YouTube videos. So now we can get into what makes a great story. There are a few core elements that make up the anatomy of a great story, which includes conflict, which creates tension and keeps the viewer curious. You kind of do want to be throwing some curveballs at your viewers so they're entertained throughout your video. It's important to be delivering your content in a specific framework to get your point across. Next, you're going to also want to add context. This is going to resolve the conflict and actually give the value of the story and what you're basically telling. And as you build up these different conflicts in your story, then you have a big resolution near the end of the video. About 80% way through your story, you have a big resolution where everything just sorts itself out and you kind of get that itch scratched that you started. This is what all the movies do, all the stories. This is like what you learned in school. It provides that payoff that you promised at the start of your story. So when you're creating and telling your stories, you want to make sure you're using but instead of and then. This is what the writers of South Park use all the time. So by using but instead of just and then, you're going to keep the viewer interesting, but naturally has a conflict built into that word. I went to the store, but they didn't have milk. So I decided to get the almond milk, but my best friend hates almond milk. Now you're creating a story with depth and natural conflict when you're progressing through the elements of a good story. Rather than if I just said, I went to the store and they didn't have milk. And then I realized my best friend hates almond milk. There's not that same level of urgency in the story. It just kind of sounds like I'm rambling. So what you want to make sure your vocabulary is taken into consideration when you're speaking. And you can do this in your videos or even just when you're telling your friends stories and just general communication, because it's going to sound a lot more interesting. Speaking of delivery, you want to be varying your tone and pacing when you're making your scripts and when you're talking to the camera. You can use short sentences and then mix it up with longer sentences to create dramatic waves in your content. Because if I always talked with the same length of sentences all the time, it's going to sound really boring because I'm kind of just talking in the same tone. Whereas if I was mixing it with short sentences and then long sentences with different variabilities in my tone, to then create a roller coaster of emotions where you never really know what I'm going to say next or how long the delivery is going to be. It's just going to sound a little bit easier on your ears and it's going to make it way more entertaining. So the last key to go viral when you have a good hook structure and you have the anatomy of a great story, you have to make sure your content is easy to understand. You don't want to be using any crazy definitions or terms that are going to make people feel stupid. Especially with organic content, you're going to want to make sure your content is easy to understand. When you're recording and talking to the camera, imagine you're talking to a friend who barely understands anything about the topic of what you're saying. This is going to be the far majority of people on the internet. Some people don't speak English as their first language, so you want to make sure you're clear and concise. Some people just don't know the intricacies of your topic. This is going to be important so you have beginners interested in your content and the advanced people are still going to be interested in the fundamentals. They're going to realize how important the fundamentals are of your topic, and then they're still going to watch your video. So you're basically attracting everybody in that community and niche by talking about topics that are a little more beginner and easy to understand. And if you use basic vocabulary, you'll also be attracting people from all across the world and all different education levels. Think about it like every single video, people have no idea who you are, what you're teaching, or what you're even talking about. You want to set up your hooks and scripts and stories just so like your grandma could understand it if she wanted. This is going to make maximum impact because the people that do understand it are just going to have a really good understanding of it. And the people that are just a little brand new will still struggle to keep up, but it will also help them understand your video. Another important thing, if you're using really advanced language, you're going to make people feel a little dumb. And nobody wants to feel dumb. Imagine if you were learning a really hard subject in school, like some advanced biology class. If they're using all these different words that you have no idea about, it's going to be really hard on your brain. You know that feeling when your brain almost overheats and it's just hard to keep up with? You're probably going to click off of that lecture because it's too complicated and it takes too much energy to process. Whereas if you had a beginner type of video and it's easy to understand and concepts just flow from topic to topic using simple to understand metaphors, you're going to have a way better time with your content. And this is how you can simplify topics to make sure your audience and content is going to be as broad as possible. This is actually going to allow you to get millions of views, so millions of people are interested and understand what you're talking about. So with a good hook structure, a good understanding of the anatomy of a story, and you're simplifying your content to make it easy to understand, you're going to have a perfect recipe to make your first viral video. So to recap, mastering storytelling isn't about going viral. It's about a way of communication. These are fundamentals that will help you communicate with people, whether it be in real life or on camera to millions of people. You want to be building a connection with your audience and being personable, using analogies and language they would understand, even if they don't know you that well. And because people are on their phone already and have full free mercy, you're going to want to make sure you have good hooks that capture attention using human psychology. You want to catch their attention using polarizing words and statements, then backing it up with actual credibility of why they should care about the topic or why they should listen to you. And then you actually want to give them what they came for. If you promise something in the hook, you want to make sure you have a good payoff in a suitable story fashion with easy to understand language, so then everybody can understand what you're saying and what you're trying to get across. The hook stops the scroll, the story keeps them watching, and simplifying your ideas is going to make sure everybody understands it. So if you found this video helpful, consider hitting subscribe, comment your favorite tip about this video, or share any ideas that you had. And if you're interested in connecting more, you can sign up to my newsletter where I do full breakdowns of topics like this. I also have a full 3-day personal brand launch guide to actually help you make your first video. So let's start growing together. I hope you find the value out of this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.